Welcome to another episode of Dad Up, everyone. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Today, I have some special guests, not only my lovely wife, Andrea, but I also have two individuals that have been in the public eye for several years, and we followed their story for, good Lord, about 16 years.
Hmm.
So it's been amazing, and I'm excited to dive into kind of where their journey is now because they're co-parenting to a son by the name of Bentley. But my good friends Maci Bookout and Ryan Edwards has joined me on Dad Up. Thank you guys very much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to dive in. So before we get started, Ryan, how's the baby?
She's good. She's really good.
And she's got to be a
She's
year
three
now?
months. 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Because we watched the show and then obviously I don't know how behind we are as far as timeline goes for you guys. But okay, 3 months. Awesome. That's awesome. And then Macy, you said your kids are away at baseball right now.
Yeah, Bentley has a tournament down in Georgia, so they are all down there. They just got out of school for the summer, so we're in kind of summer chaos mode now.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, let's dive in because I want to kind of talk about your backstory a little bit. It's been quite a journey that you two have gone through as parents and now co-parenting to Bentley, who's now driving for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing because when we first started watching you guys on MTV show Teen Mom, we saw the struggle that you two went through, not only trying to co-parent, but also being so young, how young both of you were, and essentially, really not ready to be parents. But let's talk about that time because Ryan, it was hard for you. I know Maci, it was hard for you. Let's talk about that a little bit. This kind of the struggle of being a teen mom and a teen, dad. Let's talk about that journey a little bit.
Oh man, part of me feels like it was yesterday, and then part of me feels like we've lived 1,000 lives since then, you know? Um, it's for me the craziest thing is in that time I thought I had it together. I was like, you know what? We can do this. It's going to be okay. I know everything, full-blown teenager mind. And I'm kind of glad for that because I feel like that's how we survived. But I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, you knew nothing. Like you
Mhm.
had no idea. It's crazy looking back. I thought I was an adult and now I see it and I'm like, you were such a baby. Oh my gosh. So for me, it's just wild. It's wild.
Yeah. What
Well,
about you? Go ahead.
don't feel bad because as parents, a little later on in life in our 20s, we felt the same way. We
Hmm.
thought we had it all down pat, and now we look back and go, "Oh man, there's so many things we'd do differently and do over."
Yep,
Crazy.
definitely.
What about you, Ryan?
I don't know. It was a lot of stress for me, man. Bentley was the first kid I'd ever held, you know,
Hmm.
and worrying about having to pay for it. I remember her and I moved into this duplex, and I was like, man, how am I going to pay rent?
Yeah. Yes.
Getting
Yeah.
up to work was a little different when you knew you had to actually pay for something and you couldn't go. I mean, I guess I could go back to mom and dad's house, but at the time we weren't trying to make that an option.
Hmm.
Right. No, I get that. I get that. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously parents and our boys are 26 and going on 24, 23. So 26 and 23. And the crazy thing is I can still remember the day bringing our boys home from the hospital and where time is now and the stages of the life they're in now. Our youngest, our 23-year-old, just proposed to his longtime girlfriend yesterday. So they just got engaged, which is really, really cool. But that's a whole nother chapter of our lives that we're going to go through as parents.
Hmm.
And for you guys, I mean, seeing you guys on the show, kind of fast forwarding to where we are now, you struggled in the beginning as new parents and kind of trying to figure out how you're going to do this co-parenting thing. But now to see you guys and where you're at and with Bentley and what he's gone through with both of you guys, just, I mean, I think about, when I think about the show, one of the episodes that I really appreciated was you guys coming in together for his first car.
That was neat to see.
That was fun.
Yeah, and how you guys all work together in that manner to make it work for him.
Mhm.
That was amazing to see that progress. And I'm sure it probably made you guys feel good too, because Bentley's seeing you guys in that light, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, he's obviously always deserved it, but I feel like even when things were decent or okay in the past, I didn't necessarily feel like the foundation of it was solid. And it was kind of like, okay, when's the rug gonna get pulled out from under us? I I feel like we both put in a lot of work to make sure that we take our time and let this co-parenting thing happen authentically and only really taking steps or moving forward in directions that we're comfortable taking instead of like rushing it. Like, okay, let, we should be able to do everything and talk about everything and have all the things immediately, which is very unrealistic. So I feel like now we've gotten to a place where the foundation of it is solid
Mhm.
and new steps or new bricks are put on top only when it's time for that.
How did you get there? Because I think so many people that are co-parenting are where you two used to be. And
Yeah.
so many just don't see a path forward. They don't see where you guys are today is even a possibility. So what steps did you two each have to take individually to get there?
Ryan, you want to start?
I had to get sober first, and be someone that someone even wanted to be around or speak to.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, that definitely had a massive role. Like that kind of is one of the first, blocks of the foundation that was placed down. But I had to do a lot of work too, like through Al-Anon and understanding what my role as Bentley's mom is and the influence I can have, even if I didn't. For a long time, I felt like I had nothing to do with their relationship. And if Ryan and Bentley were going to have a relationship, that was up to Ryan and Bentley and not me. That was untrue. That was very not the
Mhm.
case. And so I just had to do a lot of work on myself and figure out what I could control, what I couldn't, um, and, find out who I wanted to be as a mom and a co-parent. And honestly, I had to get mentally healthy too. I had to work through a lot of anger, just so angry and so much pain. Um, that I felt was easy to, I don't know, push down inside and just like move on because I didn't feel like I could do anything about it. So I
Mhm.
really just had to heal myself and then keep moving forward as an individual, honestly. So I feel like once Ryan and I were able to like both show up ready, willing, and have already done a little bit of work, that made it a lot easier. So much easier. It's still difficult, there's still moments and times where it's like, oh, what do I do now? But I think just showing up healthier, more authentic, and almost more understanding of our own selves, but also of each other makes it a different world.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
great advice.
yeah, absolutely. And Ryan, I commend you for your sobriety. How long has it been?
Last time I looked at it, it was like 2 years and a month. I think that was a few days ago.
Awesome. That's good news. Um, I have similar story to you, Ryan. I struggled with addiction as well. I went through, I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and I like to joke that the Marines taught me three things. They taught me how to cuss, they taught me how to kill, and they taught me how to drink. So I struggled with that. And then when we had boys, my boys were little, um, I found my drinking getting a little bit out of control. Now, I was what they'd call a functioning alcoholic, where I did all the coaching and all that stuff. I would never drink when I did that stuff. I had never drunk, I never drove, drinking and driving, never did any of those things. I was more of the social, the casual at home kind of drinker. And I found myself one day just kind of watching TV, and I had asked my 10-year-old to go get me a beer out of the fridge. And when he did that, I realized what I was doing. I was teaching him without teaching. I was teaching him about alcohol and about drinking at a very young age. And I knew that that wasn't right. I knew that I had to make a shift. And I was talking to her about it. And it's funny, when I mentioned it to her, her reaction was, "Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that," because she noticed it. And
Yep.
so I made a decision to get sober, and I've been sober now over 15 years. So it's one of those shifts we have to make for our kids, not only for us, but for our families as well. How's that shift been for you, Ryan? I know it's a struggle day to
It
day.
was a little different just because hell, I didn't know how to function without drugs really. But now it's a lot easier, and it's just kind of normal.
Hmm. Yeah. And that it's an important lesson for Bentley to learn too, because he's still at a very a young age, but he's getting into those years where, drinking starts, the alcohol and things like that starts to become more of maybe a topic. So that's something that you guys have to both watch, be mindful of.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard, Maci, I heard you mention Al-Anon. I think that's a great resource for anybody dealing with a
Yes.
loved one that's in addiction, but and therapy, which I think is great for everybody. In addition to Al-Anon and therapy, were there any other resources that you guys utilize to help build that foundation of co-parenting?
Um, I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like a resource that most people don't ever name is literally the sun, like fresh air and sunshine, like just utilizing being outside, finding another hobby, especially if you can do it outside that just is yours. If you've got kids, it's not your kid's hobby. It's not their time, it's your time with yourself, but just being outside, honestly, and it's a free resource. Like it's just there.
Hmm.
That was huge for me, grounding and just being outside. Um, I'm sure there are plenty that I'm not thinking of. Um, and that's honestly one of the bonuses to being on the show is that there's a lot of cast members that are dealing with or going through similar things.
Hmm.
And so having those people to reach out to and be like, "Hey, can you tell me about what you were doing or what group you were in or how did you navigate this?" That makes a big difference too, being able to kind of bounce off of other people and learn from them too is a big deal. But honestly, Al-Anon and therapy were and going outside were the biggest
Right.
things for me.
That's awesome. Ryan, I want to ask you, have you had conversations with Bentley about your past addiction problems, and how have those conversations gone?
It's not been like in-depth conversations, but it was just kind of like, hey, this is kind of why, I wasn't there and stuff like that. He definitely knows that I was in drug or, using, but nothing too much that had detail in it or anything like that.
Yeah. And how would you handle as a dad right now? How would you handle if you maybe caught Bentley, or maybe he asked you questions about, alcohol or drugs or something? How would you handle that?
I mean, I would most definitely answer any question he had. If I was to catch him, I mean, drinking, I'm not for sure. I feel like all 16-year-olds are gonna experiment and try it and stuff. Um, but my feelings would definitely be hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I want to ask you guys a question when it comes to, co-parenting and disagreements. I know we have friends that co-parent, and sometimes there's those situations where they have these disagreements on how they handle situations. How do you guys, in co-parenting, Bentley, how do you guys handle disagreements that may come up?
For me personally, I feel like we're so blessed. Bentley is such an easy,
Yeah.
uh, he's such an easy level, very cool kid. But I feel like I don't know that we've even had like a disagreement in the last 2.5 years or so. I think it's because we approach it. I'll speak for me. I approach it more from a standpoint of, okay, if I don't agree with this, why? Like, why is it because I think he's wrong and I'm right? Is it because I want to be right? You know what I mean? Like I have to approach it very much from a standpoint of it's not about me, it's about Bentley. And we could have two separate ideas about something and both of them be okay.
Mm.
Both of them be a solid way to handle it or a solid decision for Bentley. So I just have to really think like why if I am really gonna go not say pick and choose your battles, but if I'm really gonna go at it for what I want or what I think is right, I need to clarify why in my own head first
Mm.
and then go on. And honestly, typically I find that the why isn't worthy of not maybe trying what Ryan's thinking first,
Mm.
and I feel like he kind of handles it the same way with me, because we haven't really had disagreements. It's almost more conversations now, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. Way better.
That is I mean, I'll tell you, as someone who's been married to my co-parent for almost 28 years, it's hard to do when you're in love, let alone,
Yes.
when you're co-parenting from two separate households. It's amazing what you guys have been able to do.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
I mean, well, for one, I mean, he's older, he's kind of got his own thing going on. And Macy's, Bentley and Macy have been doing that. So, you know, when I started to come back around and stuff, I didn't want to mess any of that up. It had been working for him. Plus, he's older now, he kind of makes his own decisions and stuff, and I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ryan's done a really good job of creating that space for him and Bentley together where maybe that wasn't there for them before. So Bentley kind of goes to Ryan and talks to Ryan about things in a completely different way than Bentley and I's relationship,
Right.
which is
Mm.
great because they've been able to actually like bond and build their relationship together without everybody else getting in the way all the time or like babysitting them, it's so they're still very much, I feel like, getting to know their dynamic, and Bentley is growing rapidly, so he's still figuring out his own self every
Right.
day too. But Ryan's done a really good job of like, I don't know, just giving Bentley that safe space with him that, doesn't really have nobody else really has an influence over it anymore, which is really good. And I know Bentley is really enjoying that and loves that they have that now.
Yeah. You feel your bond is growing, Ryan, with Bentley?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I enjoy it too because he is such a good kid. Like I said, I hate missing out on all that before, but better late than never for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
Yeah.
sure.
He's still young where you still have plenty of time to build that bond back up to where it should be. But I want to ask you when it comes to regrets, Ryan, I'm sure that one of them is your, addiction and not being as present as you would have liked in the early years. But you have any other regrets that you would like to maybe or wish you didn't happen or didn't go that way?
Oh, yeah, I mean, using drugs for one, not being there, but using just thinking drugs were more important
Oh, we lost him.
than anything of my kid. It my whole life revolved around drugs and all that, and I wish it never happened, but it did, and I cannot go back and change it. So you know, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna have to live with it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, I think it's a part of your story, and it got you to where you are today. And Bentley seems to be just an amazing, outstanding kid, and it's all part of his foundation and his core and who he is. So at the end of the day, it's all worthwhile because things are so good.
Yeah, I agree. I think too, like you said, Ryan, it did happen and that was the past and you have to live with it and you can't go back and change it. But I do feel like there's such a large part of that where Bentley is going to learn so much from you and overcoming this and kind of starting fresh. Because I know just for me personally, one of the things I've absolutely just loved to see is, you know, I've seen Ryan sober for a little bit here and there, sprinkled in. But I was like, man, he's not happy and he's not confident and he's not him. He's not Ryan. He's not the Ryan that I know. And now even Bentley is getting to know Ryan and see him confident in the man that he is and the family he's building, you know. So for Bentley, I feel like one thing to keep in mind, Ryan, is that he's gotten to see you overcome that, but also like be really proud. And I feel like those are tools that he will be able to carry when he hits rough spots in life, you know, just being able to overcome something and grow from it, not just avoid the conversations, you know. If he asks you something, you answer and you talk to him about it and take accountability and stuff too, which is huge. Like that's massive for Bentley to be able to see his dad say the hard things and have the tough conversations. Um, and I don't know, and see you be happy with yourself too. I just don't forget that part of it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you both have come a long way, but, you know, Ryan, you know, with the struggles that you went through, you've come a really long way, and the changes that you've made. And that is really what prompted seeing that on the show from our perspective. You know, we don't see everything. We don't see the behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff, but seeing the show itself, that is what prompted us to want to have. I'm like, this is the perfect co-parenting situation where we need to really address this because, yeah, teen mom, teen pregnancy, that's a major issue. But having two people that went through this long story, this long history to where they were to where they are now is just a massive shift. And I have to commend you guys both for the job that you guys have done, not only in your own individual families, but and more importantly, with raising Bentley in particular, because he is a really, really cool kid from what we've seen. And you guys have really, really done a remarkable job. And so I commend you guys for that and your guys' relationship as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any final messages that either one of you would give to people who are struggling with co-parenting?
It's rough.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, it is. It is. And that's okay. Like it is. It's like you were saying earlier, it's hard to co-parent, like even with your partner, someone that you're choosing to love every single
Right.
day. It's still hard to co-parent with that person. Um, it is tough, but I think at the end of the day, I remember when Bentley was young and Ryan was in active addiction. And people would say, whether it be online or like somebody in public that recognized me from the show, or even people like in my life would say, like, why don't you just take Bentley away from him?
Mm.
And that always bothered me because I wouldn't be taking Bentley away from Ryan. I would be taking Ryan and Ryan's family and Bentley's family away from Bentley.
Absolutely.
So the fact that I feel like so many people think about it from the parent's perspective, I wish people would think more from the child's perspective. I wouldn't be taking Bentley from anybody. I would be taking Bentley's family away from him.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, there are times, obviously, you got to keep them safe, you got to keep them healthy, got to keep them happy. But there was never an option in my mind where it was like, oh, okay, we're cutting them off completely. And that's never, no, like I would never do that to my child. And yeah, sometimes you got to kind of leave the room and go to another room, but you always have to leave the door open. And again, like if there's disagreements or the way that I approach conversations, parenting with Ryan now, or Taylor, honestly, with all of our kids. But it's like, why, how important is it that I approach this from but my way is better?
Mm.
Why? If it's not really affecting, like if they're still going to be safe and happy and healthy, why would you pick and choose that? Like
Right.
it's not about being right. It's not about control. As long as your kid's happy, safe, healthy, why would you argue it? It's trial and error. Raising kids is trial and error. So I feel like people sometimes it's easy to do, and I'm guilty of it. I feel like every parent's guilty of it with
Sure.
co-parenting, but it's not about me. It's not about Ryan, it's about Bentley.
Ryan, from what you've learned through, the last 16 years of essentially co-parenting, what would be some advice you would give to parents out there that are struggling through that co-parenting process?
I mean, I'm having to go through it again right now. And I just keep having to remember that yeah, it's not about my feelings or how I feel about somebody, because at the end of the day, that's still going to be their mom or their dad.
Mm,
It's just what's best for your kid. But I know it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
can't do it all the time, but that's what it really is about.
yeah, I agree. I think you guys, Maci, you've had a remarkable relationship with Ryan's parents. You've continued to keep that door open, like you said, and the way that you've communicated with them has always been, from what I've seen, has always been respectful, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they've done the same for you as well. Um, and I think that's because you all equally know the importance of this being a relationship for Bentley.
Mm-hmm.
That's a door that you don't want to close. And I think that's important for any parents out there that are going through this co-parenting process. It's not just the actual parents that have to kind of figure this thing out. It's the extended family. It's the rest of them. Everybody else that's in the family that has to that feels the relationship between the co-parents. They feel that, and
Right.
so it's important that as co-parents that those doors are always open with the rest of the family. So
Yeah,
I know,
definitely.
Ryan, you have your parents have been a remarkable influence on Bentley, and they've also been an influence on you as far as trying to help you get through your journey, as if you will.
They've had
How's
a
your
never given up.
Yeah, they've never given up. And you have an unbelievable relationship with both your mom and your dad, and so I commend you for keeping that relationship strong because they do love you. Clearly, they
Mm.
do, and they wanted to make sure that you got healthy, not only for yourself but for Bentley. They knew the importance, so that's awesome. Um, what?
Can I add something
Yeah.
earlier when we were talking about just like what we would say to parents that may be struggling with co-parenting. Another thing that to me is like top priority, and I will say I've by no means am perfect, but I feel like I've done a really good job of this, like 98% of Bentley's life. Don't speak negatively about the other parent
Yep.
or their family in front of the child because if I were to say, especially in the really bad days, if I were to say everything I felt about Ryan or everything and called him names or said he was wrong in this and this and this and this, I think sometimes people forget like your child hearing that. And if I'm saying something negative about Ryan, I'm telling my son that half of him is bad.
Right.
Mm,
Half of everything, the whole person he is, half of it is bad. We have like people really please try to stop talking negatively about the other parent, no matter how mad you are, and no matter if what you're saying is halfway true or completely true.
Right.
Just don't do it because you're telling your child half of them is wrong, half of them
mm,
is bad, half of them is this. And that doesn't just go for the other parent, the other family,
Mhm.
everything. Don't, stop talking negatively in front of children about half of themselves. Just let's not do that.
yeah.
It's
And
great
and
advice.
I think it's really a challenge for both of you because of you guys being in the public eye. You have to be extra careful just because of that.
Yes.
You're getting, you're on TV, and so you have to be mindful of this isn't just me speaking to somebody else. There's an actual camera here, and this is going to be seen by millions of people.
Yep.
So that's a that that you. I mean, that's something you guys you still have to be careful of.
Yeah.
Um,
And that is hard too, emotions And it's like all you want, like,
Yeah.
it's really tough, but it's important. I feel like it's really important
Yeah.
for the mentality and the mental health of a kid to
100%.
not hear that negativity
Right.
because of how you're feeling. You say mean things when you're feeling a certain type of way, right? So I don't feel like just try. Try real hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It
Yeah.
is hard.
What's next for you guys? I know, you're talking about baseball and all that stuff, but I mean, what's next for you guys individually as well as your families in Bentley?
I feel like it's day by day, but I know I'm really excited for the summer because all of our kids, like we have this crazy, our family's crazy and we're kind of weird and not like anybody else because it is such a blended family. But I'm excited for the summer and like all the kids being able to like swim and do all the things that kids do
Yeah.
on summer days. And Ryan, I don't know, are y'all going on vacation too in July?
Yeah, so we just the
Well,
condo, yeah, looked at the end
okay.
of so
So
yeah,
we'll have
well,
like a crazy, crazy blended family vacation this
Oh,
summer too. So
fun.
that's going to be fun. And a lot of Taylor's family will be in for that from Texas. So yeah, I mean, just kind of enjoying life. I want to say enjoying the fruits of our labor because we worked so hard to
Right.
get them. So it's
Yeah.
nice to actually just be able to enjoy the time now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you guys are all going on vacation together. That is going to be um, fun, but chaotic.
For sure, without a doubt.
Yeah. That's cool.
But soak it all in. It's hard fought and so well deserved. And you guys deserve every ounce of credit as outstanding co-parents, and you deserve the great kids that you have and enjoy every minute of it. It goes so fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Soak in those summer memories.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ryan, Maci. I mean, don't blink. I mean, I know I say that because like I said, we've watched you guys from the beginning, and now here we are over 16 years later, and Bentley's driving, and you got, your little ones are getting older, and before you know it, you're going to be at that spot where Bentley's getting down on a knee and proposing to somebody like
Yeah.
what happened to us yesterday. So it happens so fast. So Ryan, I want you to continue working on that relationship because that is so important for you and Bentley to continue to grow that bond. And from what we've witnessed, you're doing an amazing job, and continue working on being healthy, staying healthy every single day. So I commend you for what you're doing, Ryan. Keep it up. And Maci, obviously, you keep growing those kids and wrestling and everything else that they're doing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any final words before I let them go?
I'm just, as someone who's watched this journey, I'm so proud of you guys, feeling like an older auntie here, watching you guys grow up. Just great job. And you have wonderful kids, and that's the result of all of the hard work you guys have put in.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for being on the show. I'm going to let you guys go. But before we do, guys, listen, this has been another awesome episode of Dad Up. I want to thank my good friend Maci Bookout and Ryan Edwards for being on the show. You can catch them on Teen Mom and MTV's TV show Teen Mom, but you can also follow them on Instagram. All the links are in the show notes below, but I want to thank them for being on again. And make sure you go back to episode 81. It's not even on video. I was only doing audio at that time when I had Maci on for the first time 4 years ago, which is crazy. But make sure you guys go back and listen to that episode before you watch this one. But Maci, Ryan, excellent job. Thank you guys for being on the show. And we look forward to continuing to watch your guys' journey. And guys, don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed to my show, please make sure you do that so you don't miss any of the awesome guests that I have on each and every week. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of Dad Up. Wow, another amazing episode in the books. So much was shared, and I'm truly grateful my guest was able to pour into you to help you elevate your dad game and really dad up. Make sure you bang that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're here, please don't forget to leave me a rating and a review. I always appreciate the feedback. And one last thing, don't forget,
Your role as a dad is one of the most important roles you have. So if you need a little help or have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website at daduptribe.com or at my Instagram page at daduppodcast. Until next time, everyone, dad up.